Hello, welcome to today's program, Wisdom of Senior Yogis. Today we have our very special guest, Sister Chandru, in the studio with us. Welcome, Sister. Thank you so much for being with us once again. And today's special topic is the Indian celebration of Janmashtami, or the birth of Krishna. This is a festival which is celebrated all over the world, but predominantly in India. And of course, now globally, we do see many people celebrating this festival across the world. But what exactly does this festival mean? What does it mean for us? And of course, Sister Chandru, welcome, is going to give us some insight today into the real deeper meaning of Janmashtami, the birth of Krishna.
Janmashtami, it's lots of splendor and celebration, and Sri Krishna's the very most popular personality in the whole universe in eternal times. You can think of lots of charming stories about Sri Krishna. Whoever knows the devotion, the Hindu bhakti on Janmashtami in August time that we celebrate, and all night. His birth was supposed to be in midnight, and so celebration goes past midnight, and singing and dancing and joy and puja and arti and everything, prasad, and devotees go beyond everything, their worldly duties and responsibility, and they become one with Sri Krishna's divine performance or image.
So, for those that don't know anything about the meaning of Janmashtami, could you explain a little bit about what the meaning behind Krishna is? Because, you know, we hear terminologies as Hare Krishnas, we know it's very Indian. You know, we envision people with orange robes and dancing and singing. Some people wonder, is Krishna a prophet? Is Krishna like Christ or Buddha or so on? What exactly, where can we fit Krishna into the context of our everyday lives? What does it mean to us?
Hindu believes there are two main godheads.
Right.
One is Sri Krishna and other is Shiva. One part of the Hindu believes Krishna is a godhead, and other part of Hindu believes Shiva is
so
godhead.
So they believe Krishna is God.
Krishna is God, and that's why his birthday is a very elaborate story about his birth, his how he took birth, where he took birth, and all the situation around his birth is very exciting stories that is fascinating for people to study, to listen for days about it. And so, because it's supposed to be God's birthday, and
so
it's
do we
God's
have a timeline for that? I mean, can we know when Buddha came, we know when Christ came. Do we have a timeline for Krishna?
It's supposed to be 5,000 years ago. According to Brahma Kumaris teaching, it's supposed to be Golden Age, beginning of the Golden Age. Golden Age, Silver Age, Copper Age, Iron Age, and then starts Golden Age. So the first prince of Golden Age is Sri Krishna. The new world starts from there, and then it goes on. Right now, there is some more research happened through Brahma Kumaris teachings that exactly when did he come, because according to Hindu Bhakti, he came in a Copper Age, and all the war happened, and he gave Gita knowledge.
So by the Copper Age, you mean approximately 2,500 years ago, prior to the prophets?
Yes, yeah.
The 500-year period before the prophets, or we say in the West BC, before Christ. We understand we have a timeline for the prophets, for Buddha, for Christ, and so on. We don't necessarily have a timeline for Krishna, but we understand that the idea, the notion of the founder of Hinduism on some level is Krishna. We have this understanding that it was Krishna that wrote the Gita, and this understanding that it's Krishna that you have to turn to in times of need. So you have to go out of yourself to somehow get some boon or some help or some blessing from Krishna. Versus what you were saying before about Shiva and Brahma Kumaris on the other side, Could you tell us a little bit about this transition and the meaning of Krishna and the meaning that we have in terms of Shiva and what that means?
How at the present time the manifestation of God, and who is God?
The divine.
The divine. And so is the Krishna, Sri Krishna is imparted the knowledge, then what it turned into through knowledge. Or it's God, universal God, who we call Shiva or Shiv Baba, who gave the knowledge, and the result of that knowledge turned into divinity. The highest form is Sri Krishna, the result of that. So Shiva gave the knowledge, or giving knowledge, and then creating the divine forms. And it's not one single form. If you know the story of Sri Krishna, they were Krishnas, then they were gopis, the lover of Krishna, and they were together. They had a town, they had a pleasure, they had a joy, they sang, they danced. It's called Krishna's land, no sorrow, no suffering. So is supposed to be suffering and sorrow whilst Krishna going on, or is it the result of the knowledge that God gave and became Krishna's land? You see, it's up to you to think what it could be rationally makes sense more to us. But before that, if we understand that the divine performance of Sri Krishna, what it is, it's internally. It's your divinity. Each person has Krishna within them, their perfect form. You have your perfect form, I have mine. It's not the same, but I have my own perfection, you have your own, and I have to reach that goal. And by understanding Gita knowledge, you practice that. The essence of whole Gita is the Nashta Moha Smriti Labdha. At the end he said he surrendered, Arjuna surrendered to God. That okay, I understood and I am yours. So who he belonged to? He surrendered to God. And then the divinity, victory over evil happened that way. So that happened, whatever timeline we decide or we understand, 2000 or 500 BC or 5000.
So for the viewers watching at home, we have this idea, this notion of Krishna existing. We don't necessarily have a timeline for that, but we have this idea of approximately 5,000 years ago.
Yes.
So we have a notation, a scripture which talks about the gopis and life being happy, and that can be represented in our own life as being happy, enjoying your life, seeing the best in your life, valuing what you have, and so on and so forth. But at the same time, we also have this concept that Krishna and God are quite separate.
Krishna is the divine form, manifestation of God's knowledge that he took, and the God who is the maker of the divine form. When I was very young, I had a question that it happened then. What it is now, I'm seeing image in a temple. What do I have to do? What is affecting me now? How I can be Gopi? How I can be Krishna-like? Or how I hold his hand and dance? There wasn't answered. So when I came to Brahmakumaris, it answered my question that yes, you can hold Krishna's hand. You can do dance with him. You can be in his world. You can in his perfect world, that no suffering and no sorrow. So relating to Janmashtami at the present time is more relevant than what happened then. See, because his whole story is significant. Whole Gita episode is significant, that how God gave knowledge. The war, Can you talk knowledge in between war? Can you have a peace or meditation or politics discuss in the middle of the war? If we go into detail, there are lots of understanding, lots of significance, lots of learning in that, because life is a struggle. We go through war every day, don't we? We go through, even traffic is a war to make my way there. So this is how I relate to what Brahma Kumaris do or practice, or Shiv Baba gave the knowledge to have all the old ancient wisdom from the scriptures to bring into practical so we can take best benefit of it. How I can win as Arjuna won the war. How I can take the knowledge which God gave and how he surrendered to God, how I can surrender. So then it's a big benefit of me to celebrate Janmashtami today than what happened 5,000 years ago, what it took place. So not only just to be in his asylum, in the temple, and I satisfy myself that I did my devotion, I did my bhakti enough. No, that's not enough. That to bring that divinity, bring out the divinity from within. Can you see when dancing happens? It's a pair. Has to be equal. Has to be same step. Has to be same rhythm. Otherwise dance do not happen. It spoil my dance. You know, your feet, your hand, your gesture, everything should be similar. And so that's how I have to be in that rhythm, in that harmony. And that's what I needed right now. So I'm not in harmony with God, the God-likeness, God nature, godliness in short. That how can I hold God's hand? Krishna's beauty, purity, love. You see, his symbol of love, his purity, all his knowledge. Am I equivalent to that? So I can be pair, Radhe or Gopi at the present time? Yes, it's possible. Shiv Baba says it's possible because I am teaching you to become one. So you go in Sri Krishna's world and have that ras. The ras means non-complicated harmony with everybody and enjoy at the same time. You see, most of the time we compromise, we settle, we accept, but no fun in it, no joy in it. But the ras, the word for dance, is ras. Ras is internal bliss. So to create a harmony, we struggle, we accept, we compromise, but we're not happy with it because we have to circumstances. But if I see the Krishna Janmashtami dance means ras, the word, the ras, is that we internally enjoy that harmony. Hand in hand, feet with feet, the rhythm and all, but at the same time matching, I'm enjoying. Because of circumstance, I have no choice. I am accepting. I have to compromise. Then no fun, no life there. But this divine compromise, divine tuning, that gives me a real life. Otherwise, we rush. Morning till night, we struggle. But we do not have that ras within. So that lightness, that, you know, the dancer has to feel light. And so we don't have that lightness in a life. So Sri Krishna means that divine. And today, if we are celebrating Janmashtami, that's what it means by perfect world. All the singing, all the birds, all the nature, everything is in harmony. No animosity, no war, no weapons, nothing ugly there. Everything is beautiful, fragrant flowering.
Are we talking about heaven and hell here?
Yeah, I'm talking about heaven and hell. Sri Krishna's world is heaven.
But the question arises, who created that? Did
We
Sri
create.
Krishna
God
create
creates,
heaven? Or?
God teaches how to create, and we have to create that with our own hand. It's possible. It gives us a hope This festival gives us a hope, not just one night, but it gives a hope that yes, heaven is possible on earth. Heaven was always on earth, and it can be, and it is coming on earth again.
But we have so many problems in the household. We have so many problems in our culture. We have so many political problems. We have so many financial issues. We have trade problems. We have globalization. We have so many issues. We're so far away from what we would consider a peaceful, beautiful life with Krishna and happiness and the gopis dancing and all of these things. And of course we know that that did exist at some point because we have scriptural references. So today, going to the temple, as you mentioned, worshipping Krishna, is that going to bring us the happiness and the love and the peace and the unity?
Not just worshipping, divine magic. Have you heard that before, Master?
Do tell us.
We have enormous amount of problems. We think there is no solution of poverty, of evil, of natural calamities, everything we have there. But if God's miracle happens, it can shift.
When you say God's miracle, are we talking about a divine intervention at some point in history?
Yeah.
And are we talking about that being before Krishna?
See, in one of the Krishna story, there was a terrain rain and a storm. And he lifted the mountain and brought everybody under that. The devils wanted to drown the city towns in the story. And he held the mountain on his little finger.
The divine
God. The God, yeah. And a whole town was saved.
So God stood in at some point.
So at one moment they were drowning, and other moment, because divine intervention, everybody was saved. A miracle.
Are we talking about a scenario, a scene of
I'm
hell?
talking about it's possible.
God coming into hell
into our life and lift the mountain. That's globally, because we think this is impossible. Who can stop volcano? Who can stop earthquake? Who can stop storm, war? You know, all differences, the religious controversy, all that, but changes, like it flips. That's called divine intervention, God's intervention.
So a period of time.
It's a miracle, yeah.
A period of time between, you mentioned before about the ages, you know, the time periods they call gold and silver, or Satyug, Kalyug. So we're talking about a time period within which a divine activity takes place.
Yes.
And this which is the memorial of the scriptural reference of God holding everything on his hand.
It's not just only God holding, but God... Everybody put their stick up too. Means it's underground.
A change of consciousness.
Change of consciousness is happening together with God's incarnation. With happening together, it looks like a miracle, but it's also effort.
But in everyday life, for the viewers at home watching, what sort of shift are we talking about here in terms of change of consciousness? Yes, we can worship. Yes, we can pray. Yes, we can go to the temple. We can go to church. We can go to the mosque. We can pray. We can ask for forgiveness. We can try and find a solution to our problems, whether it's a problem with a relationship or a work problem or a financial problem or an emotional problem or a fear, a doubt, a worry. We can do all of those things. We can hope is, I guess, what I'm saying. Versus what?
You see more people doing good work than bad people doing bad work, ratio-wise. But bad work is more visible because we can't take it. But the good people who are in all religious background or social background, they're doing good work, and it's coming to a point, and it's like a penny drops, and it's shifting. So it's not actual miracle, but it is the result of accumulation of many people's souls, good effort to bring that. It's a sun rising in the morning.
We're talking about a change. A change in consciousness.
Change in consciousness, changing in the consequences of the karma, that goodness going on in the world.
But in everyday life, You mentioned before about the battlefield, or the battlefield of the mind, and Krishna being on the battlefield, and we have so many stories like this. And yes, this is represented and reflected in the mind, in our everyday life. So what is it about the divine coming into this picture, coming into our lives, from your experience, your many years of being yogi, of meditating?
The whole world in general, and a particular set of people, Brahmakumaris, in my experience that I know, and I've been doing that, few, comparison to the whole world population, handful of people consciously working towards that change.
So what can we do? What can we do to assist that change?
We do what I can do best. I can follow, I can be aware, I can tune in, we call it meditation.
Tune in.
Get that, tune in.
I really like
with the divinity, the meditation, get the power.
When you say tuning in, what are we tuning into? Krishna, or?
We tuning in onto God.
Onto
We're
God.
tuning into divinity, godliness, God's virtues.
And how are we seeing
power.
God exactly?
It's a big subject you're touching right now.
Are we talking about Krishna? I'm wondering what the viewers at home can do to get this experience of the divinity.
Supreme Father, Supreme God, one God of whole universe, that we understood and we experience as a Brahmakumaris, the people that who relating, and the proof is in a pudding. Right now, is working.
The same God for everyone.
Yeah, same God.
One God.
If you have many gods, look what happened to us. If we accepted many gods and we compromise, what happened to our world? So for last 80 years, it's working. To one God, one family.
Tuning in.
It's
meditating.
Working. It's meditating, management-wise. It's a whole sample of in the front of the world, that this Brahmakumaris world is working on this principle, and it's there. It's working.
Fascinating.
So you don't have a question. That is just proof. In a science, how they prove things, 3 years, 10 years, this many people, they experiment and then say it's working. So this is for 80 years, more than 80 years, we're doing this. Experimenting in our lives, personal life, with our own choice, we're trying. And it working with harmony, with love, with many culture, with many religious background, with many countries, 105 countries, that cluster of people in a small area, big areas, few people, large people, and experimenting on our own life and bringing into society, and it's working with love and harmony. So it's proved that yes, it can work, and it can bring change in the world, and it can bring divinity. Divinity is the real life, and if we don't do it, it won't work. So I have to believe in it at first.
Absolutely fascinating, and thank you so much for being with us once again.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I wish you best for celebration of Janmashtami to everyone, whoever is watching, and have a divine day and a divine life.
So there we have it, Janmashtami. Just be, relax, have a peaceful day, understand the deeper meanings, the shifting consciousness, and how we can have a more productive everyday life, to enjoy the simple things of life, and to relax, to meditate, and to tune in to the divine and experience the qualities and the deeper meanings of Janmashtami, such as love, peace, understanding, happiness, and unity. Thank you so much for viewing, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon.